This is a podcast about the Level 3 module ELL344 Language and Gender. My name's Emma Moore, and this module builds on my research specialisms, and in particular my interest in sociolinguistics. I published on various aspects of sociolinguistic variation, but gender remains an important part of the work that I do. And in particular, I'm interested in two things. Firstly, how we might use language to produce our gender identity. So, do men and women use linguistic features in slightly different ways? But also I'm interested in how people view us in terms of our gender and how they might talk about men and women in particular ways in the kind of discourse that they construct about people. And these interests really inform all of the work that we do in this module. By this point in your degree, you can probably take a pretty good guess at what a course in language and gender might cover. So if it's these things, then you'd be right. So thinking about how do men speak differently from women, or thinking about what language features we use to mark our gender identity, or thinking about how research on language and gender has developed over time, and also thinking about what talk about men and women reveals about our beliefs about gender. What you might not expect, though, is the way in which we try to answer these questions in the module. The module is very interdisciplinary, and you can expect some or all of the following research areas. So we do think about formal and theoretical linguistics. So for instance, we could ask a question about how the syntax of this sentence, Adam kissed Eve, tells us something about the power relations between the genders. So for instance, why is it Adam kissed Eve and not Eve kissed Adam? We also think about feminism, and so we might, for instance, look at a popular publication like Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and think about how it's influenced linguistics in the way that they study particular gender topics. We also look at anthropology. So for instance, does the language that we use about gender difference influence how we actually think about gender as a concept? So here also drawing upon theories of linguistic relativity. And we think about sociological topics too. So can we be creative in how we use language to express our gender? Or does the way that we are socialised constrain us to perform our gender always in the same way? The most important thing that we do in this module is to challenge all of the findings and research we encounter. And many of the students who've taken the module have told me that what they like best about it is that it forces them to think in different ways. And one of my main aims is to really get you invested in the study of language and gender and to in fact make you a researcher in your own right. Consequently, the assessments used in this module are all focused on you producing original research work. And this means developing your research question, collecting data, presenting this data to the peers in your class, and also evaluating the work of others. The research project is presented as a group poster presentation, which everyone from the class attends, and this poster makes up 50% of your mark in the module. In addition to this assessment, there are two other individual assessments which make up the other 50%. These include a research outline, which you submit ahead of starting your poster project, and it makes sure you get lots of feedback on your ideas. And then at the end of the module, there's also a take-home paper where you reflect on what you've learned in the module and cover the different topics that we've covered in the 12-week course. Sometimes people do worry about the poster presentation because it's a slightly different form of assessment, but I've found that students tend to do very well at this kind of work. And every year I'm amazed at what talented researchers my students are. You'll also have a number of consultations with me as you develop your project, and this will help you to develop something truly original and something that you have confidence in. Here's an example of a piece of work done by some of my students in a previous year. This is a poster reporting on the representation of men and women in R&B lyrics. The results backed up other linguistic research which suggests that women are complimented more on their appearance and men are complimented more on their accomplishments. This project then addressed one of the module themes that I outlined earlier, so it thinks about how talk about men and women reveals something about our beliefs about gender. The main content of the module is delivered in a 2-hour weekly session. Don't worry though, my attention span is very short, so we have lots of breaks and the material is organised so there's a good mix of lecture, data tasks and discussions. In addition, as I mentioned a moment ago, I have dedicated consultation times every week to help you with your research projects. I also expect you to be meeting with your group to do your poster presentation at least once a week. And this amounts to a good deal of contact time for you and ensures that you are learning in lots of different ways. There are no formal prerequisites for this module, although you might find it helpful to have completed a Level 2 module like ELL344 Sociolinguistics. If you want a taster of the module content, you could go and check out this book in the library. It's called Language and Gender, and it's edited by Penelope Ecker and Sally McConnell-Ginet. And it takes the kind of approach to language and gender that we'll pursue in this module. My aim in teaching this module is to make you a good, well-rounded, interdisciplinary scholar of language and gender. This means that you will know a good deal about the research done in the field of language and gender, but you will also know about the way in which the field developed and how it was influenced by disciplines beyond linguistics. I also aim to make you think about the way in which linguists do research and to develop good skills of analysis and criticism. If you have any questions about the module, don't hesitate to get in touch. My email address is e.moore@sheffield.ac.uk. You can also follow me on Twitter. This is my professional account and I tend to tweet about all things sociolinguistic.